Okay, is it windy? Maybe a bit windy, but I'm going to try and talk about some very important things. Very strange things are happening to Great Britain right now. Things that I've seen happen in America and other countries that have got a little bit more strife and discontent amongst its populations. We used to be able to say one population, but now everyone's a subculture of a subculture of a subgroup of a interest group of a minority of a majority. So there's populations. Okay, so without further ado, about a year ago, exactly a year ago, the Metropolitan Police in London, in a hard stop, there was some intel of someone having some bad things, some illegal activities going on, and there was a 24-year-old man called Chris Kaba. He was at the wheel of a Audi, a German-made vehicle. I don't know what type of Audi. I remember seeing it was a Q7 Audi Q7, which is like their big Land Rover, Range Rover 4x4 thing. So would it be fair to say a powerful Audi? Doesn't matter. A car's a car. Car's a car. I'm not happy with this. I'm going to delete this. It's too windy. It's too windy. I'm not happy with it. In case I don't delete this and I accidentally do put it in a video, there was an arrest. They all got out, pointed guns, stop, switch the engine off, put your hands up, and Chris Kaba decided not to put his hands up and surrender. He decided to drive the vehicle. I got to be careful what I say legally. I could get sued. We're in the era of say the wrong thing and your life is over. So rather than surrender, he chose to drive the vehicle. He was subsequently shot dead by a police officer, a London police officer, and he died. Funnily enough, he died after being shot dead. Isn't that a funny one? But everyone in Britain, you know, the usual Black Lives Matter, the left-wing press, the kind of commie socialist type people, they were like, oh, look, another example of severe police racism. And I was like, okay, just hold on. And then I thought, what about the body-worn cameras? What about the cameras? The cameras would be good. Cameras would be good. Let's see what happens. So rather than release it to the public, what the Metropolitan Police in London did, you can look this up. This is all public knowledge. I was following the case very closely because I'm obsessed with... what am I obsessed with? News and current events is my Warhammer. There, I've said it. News and current events is me playing Warhammer. So the police didn't release the body cam footage, although I'm sure we are going to see it eventually. They invited the Kaba family. Mr. Loverman, Kaba. No, take that back, Charlie. You're a bad man. No, they invited the Kaba family in, and Mr. and Mrs. Kaba watched, and the brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, the family. The family watched the footage, and they were getting riled up by Black Lives Matter. Every lawyer in the country saying, let us represent you. These are racists. They executed your son, blah, 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 blah. And the family watched the police videos, body camera, car videos. And after watching the police videos, the family, and I quote, decided to take a step back from any prosecutions or from thinking the police are racist or that it was like an execution. They took a step back. And so for any reasonable person, you read that, you correlate things in your brain. You go, okay, Chris Kaba at gunpoint, switch off the engine, put your hands up, you're under arrest or whatever, decides to drive the vehicle. Footage is shown to the family of the deceased young man. He was 24, young man. And the family decides to withdraw, to take a step back, to quote, take a step back from pursuing any litigation, any suing, any court activities. And so any reasonable person looks at that and goes, okay, what did the police video show? It probably showed Chris Kaba moving his car, the Audi, moving the German vehicle back and forth in a dangerous way. Me, being an amateur psychologist here, sat in a graveyard as a St. Michael's. What? Sat in the graveyard. Dead people all around me. I'll say that Chris Kaba probably did not want to murder any police. Probably he did not think, oh shit, I'm being arrested, let's take out as many of these coppers as I can before I pass away. No, I don't think so. But he clearly thought that in that split second his brain made a decision. And the decision was, ooh, rather than surrender, maybe I can escape this. I can get away. But when the police do a hard stop, it's called a hard stop, they surround the vehicle with cop cars, police cars. Obviously, so that there's a physical, heavy, big barrier so that the driver can't get away. In this melee, in this mess, in this Audi being driven in a manner to try and smash the police vehicles out of the way, Chris Kaba was shot. And here's the thing. This officer, he's been named in the press as Officer NKVD 126413. He's keeping anonymous. So I'm like, what? Charged with murder. Murder is like, that's as bad a charge as you can get. Maybe at The Hague you can get mass murder, genocide, what's it called? Ethnic cleansing. That's maybe a worse charge than murder. But you're not going to get a worse charge than murder for your average man, your average Baza, Laza, Dava down the pub. Murder is as bad as it gets. And I'm like, the Crown Prosecution Service has decided to charge the firearms officer with murder. Okay. So the Crown Prosecution Service believes there is a reasonable chance of conviction of this policeman because I watch the Black Belt Barrister channel, very good channel. I've learned a lot of things as to what self-defense is. Now, self-defense, you don't need to prove your self-defense. It's up for the prosecution to prove that you didn't act in self-defense, which is extremely hard because for something to be for an action of yours to be self-defense, it doesn't need to be based in reality. It needs to be based in your brain, in your heart. So if you are Firearms Officer NKVD 1234 and you believe in your heart, in your mind, that you might die or a member of the public that you're meant to protect may die unless you act and you act in self-defense, it's going to be extremely hard for a jury to prove otherwise. If you've got a suspect and you've stopped him because there's intel that he's armed to the teeth, that he's a dangerous man, or he's involved, or the people linked to that vehicle are dangerous people and involved with guns, and then this vehicle, rather than surrendering and saying, putting their hands up, okay, yep, take the keys, I surrender, it starts moving back and forth, and this is a 2-ton vehicle with a powerful engine, Vorsprung durch Technik. The Germans know how to build stuff. They're good at building, engineering. I wish the British were still. You've got this massive vehicle. Even if it was an Audi A3, small car, medium-sized car, any vehicle can kill you. Obviously, any road vehicle can kill you. A bicycle can kill you. A motorbike can kill you. And so it's a tragedy. Can you imagine being the Kaba, Mr. and Mrs. Kaba, your 24-year-old son, shot dead by the police? Now, I don't like the way the media are saying Chris Kaba was unarmed. Oh, they shot dead another unarmed black man. They shot dead another unarmed black man. I hate to say this, race-baiting press, but he was armed with a powerful German vehicle. Now, the high score for a vehicle-related killing spree for one individual was Nice in 2016, 2017. The Islamist-inspired maniac with his lorry, his truck, he killed 84 innocent people celebrating stuff on the beach in Nice, on the tarmac along the beach, the Corniche. And he was unarmed, but he was armed with a vehicle. The shooting with a gun, a high score. Again, I'm not being insensitive. The high tally, the highest tally. We've got Stephen Paddock, Las Vegas, 2018, 2019, I forget. I'm getting old. The years are short, but the evenings are very long. Stephen Paddock got like 69 people in Las Vegas. Anders Breivik, mixture of machine gun and bombs. He got 77 in Norway a few years, about a decade ago, was it? Maybe a bit more, 12, 13 years ago. You had Stephen Lee at Virginia Tech, 33. My point here being, the high score for an unarmed man killing people was 84. And he was only armed with a vehicle. So the British press to say, unarmed young black man, we know what that's meant to do. That's meant to incite racial violence. That's meant to incite racial anger. Because your average person reads that, they're not going to be obsessed with news and current events like your host Charlie Veitch here. It's my personal warhammer. Did I mention that? They're just going to read the headline and say, Met police in court for murder for shooting unarmed black man. And in the mind of that person, they will see a well-dressed young black gentleman walking along, an aggressive gammon Met policeman with his submachine gun. Get down, get down, get down! And the black man's, oh, please, please don't shoot, please don't shoot. Bang, 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 the young black man's executed. That's the image that they're wanting to portray. Not of a man refusing to surrender in a powerful German vehicle, even if it wasn't a powerful German vehicle. Refusing to surrender in a vehicle. And so, another important thing to note here is I believe in my heart that this is purely a political prosecution, a witch hunt, a kangaroo court against the officer. And how do I know this? So he's been charged with murder, and in the hearings, the court hearings, his lawyer goes, oh yeah, can my client, he's got a holiday in Lanzarote or Marbella or wherever he's going, whatever, Dominican Republic. Anyway, the man's going on holiday. And the court goes, yeah, you can go on your pre-approved holiday. Usually, if you're charged with murder, the government would be very unsure about letting you leave the country for obvious reasons. But with this guy, oh yeah, let him go on his prepaid his holiday, let him go on holiday. So they've ruined the guy's holiday, they've ruined his family, the poor guy, man. How's he going to enjoy his all-inclusive fucking Mexican Cancun resort with a murder charge literally hanging over him like the sword of Damocles? How's he going to do that? I know I'm using the sword of Damocles metaphor slightly incorrectly. It's a more complicated ancient story, that one. But you know what I mean. With the kind of sword hanging over him. Suella Braver Man, Suella's an interest. Suella Braver Man. We should call her Suella Braver Them. Suella Braver Them, the Home Secretary. She's already stood by the armed police because more than 50 Metropolitan Police armed officers have put down their guns. And maybe that's rational. You know, you hand in your badge, you hand in your gun, and you say to the system, you say, guys, I do want to protect you and put my life in danger to shoot dead the bad guys. But if I'm going to defend myself, defend the people walking down the street, and then you put me in court for murder, it's not worth it. I'd rather go and, I don't know, get a job doing something. What do former policemen like to do? Anything. They do everything. My cousin, one of my cousins in the Veitch family, is a former cop. But it was my dad's sister's son, so he's got a different surname. He is a Veitch, but his surname is not Veitch. I'm just ranting now. I'm probably going to release this video now. I've given it 13, 14 minutes. But I don't like how there is a bigotry of low expectations and the kid's glove. If I were a black man, I would want to be, for obvious reasons, held to the exact same standards as everyone else in society. I don't want MOBO awards. I don't want music of black origin. I want you to judge me. If I were a black man, is my music good? If it's good, compare it to other I don't need an award for making music of a black origin. I don't. I'm a black. I don't know what else to say. Like, everything's just political. Instead of things being truthful or what's right, everything's expedient. Oh, for the good of society. Oh, they're gonna riot unless we charge the officer with murder. They're gonna destroy Los Angeles again in 1992. Completely different story. I'm not saying this has any parallels to Rodney King and the LA riots, but that kind of same worry, like I went to Six Flags Magic Mountain after the LA riots, and I've mentioned this in the video before. They renamed a ride called the Black Hole. They renamed it the Dark Hole. And I was there with my friend who lives in LA. He'd been to the park many times. And he's like, what's a dark hole? And in my opinion, a dark hole sounds worse. Sounds like your anus needs bleaching. But if something's called a black hole, that has a cosmological fucking name. You know, it's a black hole. It's a scientific... If I were a black man, to anyone trying to race bait me, to make me feel angry, make me feel excluded, I would say, fuck you. I'm a human being just like you. I don't need your mollycoddling. So stick your Marxist, socialist-derived Black Lives Matter up your embezzling, corrupt, little, fat bums. Are we allowed to say that?